back to 25 Sweetpeas. Today I have a fun and new and different video for you guys. Today is my first ever kind of Procreate tutorial in the art realm, which I'm super excited about. So today I am showing you how to create this fun little marbled piece that I did in Procreate. So if you are home and you want to kind of do something creative but you don't really want to have to think about it or plan it out, and you have an iPad that is compatible with an Apple Pencil and you have the app Procreate, this video is going to be perfect for you because it's really fun, it's easy to do, and like I said, it's great to do if you don't have any art ideas but you want to do something creative. This is the perfect thing. So I'm going to be showing you how to create this marbled piece using some super simple functions on Procreate, and I think it's going to be really fun and easy to follow along with. Also, for the color scheme that I am using, I am going to be providing you the hex codes for if you want to add those into your Procreate. They will be on the side of the screen during the tutorial. Also, I will have the brush that I am using listed on the side as well. So I think that is everything that you guys need to know to get started. So let's do so. Let's go have some fun. Okay, first off, we're going to start by using a screen-sized canvas or whatever size of canvas that you want, but today we are basically focusing on making it the size that would work as a iPad background or computer wallpaper, and this size is just going to be based on your iPad size, so your screen size might be different, but it is default in the canvas import section on Procreate. So first up, you want to make sure that you're working on the first layer and have it completely cleared to get started. And now we are going to source out our brushes. So the brush that we are mainly going to be using is only one brush actually, and it's from the Airbrush section, and this one is called the soft brush. We're going to be only using this, but we are going to use different sizes of it, so you will not really need to reference back to this part so much, but I do believe this brush is available in all versions of Procreate. If for some reason you have an older version and it is not there, any sort of Airbrush brush will work. But I am actually working in the newest version, so everything should be accurate for everybody for the most part. So before we get started on the major art part, we are actually going to change the background color of our canvas, and today I'm going to be using this really kind of light corally pink shade that is in the color palette that I've been using. But of course, you are welcome to use whatever sort of color palette you want. This is just the one that I've been loving, and I will share the hex codes and everything for it if you guys want to follow along and do the same kind of color scheme. But now we are going to move on to actually doing some of the art. So on the first layer, you want to go in with the brush that we already selected and some white and kind of just put in some random shapes here and there. I've got the brush not quite to the middle size-wise, but it's pretty close. And once I have enough kind of random lines and shapes, we're going to move over to the little magic wand tool and we're going to press the Liquify button. There we have a whole bunch of options on the bottom. So my settings are basically put at the standard unless you have played with them. I have the size at the max, I have the pressure at the max, I have the distortion about 50, and the momentum is about at 69. And the main tool or feature that we're going to be using in this section is the push button or the pinch button. You can play around with the other ones if you want as well, but those are not needed to follow this tutorial. So I'm just going to start using the push tool, and we're just going to push around the white that we have already applied on, and the harder and quicker and faster that you kind of flick your pencil on your iPad is going to kind of change how the white actually reacts, which is really neat, and it allows you to kind of play around with it. If you want to go to a specific area, you can make your brush a little bit smaller and you can kind of focus on a specific area without disrupting another one. But basically, this is just up to your personal preference. Get it to a point where you like it, and then you are ready to move on. We are going to be building on this, so I want it to be there, but I don't want it to be everything. So I did pinch down some of the really prominent white spots because I do want to have a whole bunch of colors showing in this marble. So that is what I've done. I am pretty happy with it here. So we're going to add another layer and start working from another layer. And here I'm going to move to my yellow shade that I have in my color palette. And this time I am going to definitely shrink down my brush a little bit because I want to kind of have more variation in the marble fluidity as we move on. So here I'm just putting in some lines, and I'm putting more pressure down on the pencil as I do these lines because I want them to be more concentrated, whereas on the first time with the white I kind of did it looser, so we had more of a fuzz out in the white, but here I want it to be a bit more concentrated. So now we're going back to the magic wand, pressing the liquify option. I've got all the same settings on, and I'm just going to kind of push it around until I'm happy. It's actually really kind of fun, but it kind of like, you know, you just have to play with it until you like it. That is one thing I found. Definitely continuing to play with it helps, and it becomes more realistic, like you're doing a water marble on your nails or something, but this is much easier and a lot less messy. So I just kept going, and after you have kind of pushed something off of the canvas, you can kind of pull it back with this tool, which is cool because whenever you're typically drawing and you go off or something, it would crop it down and it would no longer exist, but in this case it does, which is really neat. Also, remember you can change the size of your brush so you can focus on a certain area. But now I'm pretty content with how the yellow looks, so I'm going to move on and add another layer. This is very important to always remember to do before you switch colors, because you want to have each color on a separate layer, so when you do liquify them, you're liquifying only the color you're currently working with, not all of the other colors that you already got in the positions that you liked. So we're going to go in with an orange that I have been using in the color palette. I'm going to shrink down, actually no, I think I'm going to take it up a little bit. I'm going to make the brush a little bit bigger and play with that, but I didn't like that, so I'm actually going to take it back down to the smaller size. And here I'm going to put a whole bunch of kind of like C or U shapes of the orange, and I'm letting my brush kind of like slowly taper off as I go. So we've got some softer areas, some harder areas, and this will hopefully create some cool variation in the intensity of the orange once we do liquify. And here I kind of followed the design of the pattern every now and then, not super, but like in the top corner there's a yellow curve, so I curved the orange to hopefully maybe it'll go like along with it or just look really nice. So now I've gone back to the magic wand, I've pressed liquify in the push, made sure the brush was up in full size, and I'm just pushing the orange around. I really like how the orange like played here, because as you can see towards the bottom corner, we got a lot softer orange, and then we've got a lot of a bolder orange, and it just makes for some really cool variation and a little bit more like you were playing with a water marble, which if you've ever marbled nail polish, you'll know that it's a pain, it's messy, and this is much more fun and a lot less cleanup considering it's on an iPad screen. So I did also find it was kind of fun to like pinch this here and there for whenever I did get like too much orange, or just even go back to the push tool and put it down in size so I could focus on a specific area without intruding on another area that I already liked. I really like the ripples that we got with the orange here because it made it look more precise and unique. I don't know, it was just really cool. And with the fading of the orange here and there, it kind of gave like that smoky effect, and I just thought it looked really neat. So now that I am content with that, we are going to add another layer. Actually, I think the white is a little bit too bold, so we are going to go and turn down the opacity of the white a little bit, so that way it's not super in your face. And I'm also going to pinch it down here and there because I feel like it's a little bit too wide the more that I look at it. I definitely want to still be able to see the pink in the background. Now I think I like that, so now we're going to add the next layer. So we're on layer 4 now. And I'm going to move to the blue in my palette, and I'm going to really shrink the brush down for this part because I want the blue to be bold but like more precise. So I'm going to kind of follow along with the pattern again. So I'm not going to do it super carefully, but as you can see, I'm kind of following the orange flow. So we've got some squirrely lines and kind of just some scribbles here and there to evenly distribute the blue and just have a lot of fun. I have found that it's not super good if you put like a ton of a color in one spot, like the middle of the screen. I probably have a little bit too much blue because I don't want that to be like a massive amount of blue blob in the middle. So just keep that in mind. Don't do that too often. Be very careful and be prepared to pinch it down later on. But for now, we're gonna go back to the Liquify tool, put it on the push feature, full-size brush, and we're just going to kind of push this around until we like it again. Like I said, this is like a super fun and easy task to do. Definitely if you're like not sure what art you want to make today, but you want to create something, plus it's a super fun way to kind of create a wallpaper for your computer or your phone, and it be like colors that you like, because obviously you can use whatever color combo you want. I have found that I like this amount of color because it's not too much, but it's not too little, and there's like enough going on without being too busy. So here I have used the pinch feature here and there to kind of pull it in, and I have also shrunk down the brush to make things more precise in specific areas. But I think I almost like where we're at here. It's getting pretty close to looking very cohesive and even and balanced. The next part that we're going to be doing in a few is kind of different and daring, but no worries, just follow along. It'll make sense towards the end. So we're going to add a fresh layer. Make sure you're working on a clean layer, because what we're going to do is going to be kind of bold, but we're going to switch over to a dark gray or a dark black, any sort of dark gray that doesn't look like the color scheme you're working with, because this is actually going to turn into a mask later for something else. So I've gone with the charcoal gray that I've also had in my palette, so it still, you know, looks good while I'm working with it, but it's a bold difference, and you'll easily be able to tell what you're doing, and it'll just make sense. I'm going to go in with a very, very small brush for this stage, because we want a more distinct line. We're actually going to use this to put in like a glitter ripple into this marble, so we want it to be kind of fine and thin, so that is why you want to have a thinner brush, and it is more precise, less kind of bleed on the edges of the brush too. So as you can see here, I'm doing like a whole bunch of lines compared to what we have done in the past, and they're kind of loopy and kind of squiggly, and I think that makes it a lot of fun, and it definitely allows you to create more fine little thin lines when you get to the marble stage. I've also kind of put in some dots here and there that could act as like little pieces of glitter that I've scattered. Now while we are still on layer 5, we are actually going to go ahead and liquify it while it is in this kind of dark shade. So you want to go to the magic wand, press liquify, as we have been doing for every step so far, and you want to make sure your settings are all still the same. You're on the push button, your brush size is up, and then you're ready to go. As you guys can see here, I am just playing around. It is looking kind of weird, but the more you play with it, the more normal marble-like effect you're getting, and the dots are staying intact, which is good because we kind of want them to be there as like little glitter clusters. So just play with it till you're happy. I really like the rippley effect for this, and kind of pinch them down to make more lines, because we kind of want glitter running throughout every space of this, but also not like too much, kind of in a thin way. So I'm using the pinch tool here and there. I'm using the push tool, and we're just kind of going with the flow, playing with it, making sure it looks kind of even. And once we get to the point where we're happy, we're going to go and source out an image that we're going to use for the masking part of this. So if you already have like a texture pack or a glitter background that you are able to use, go for it. But here I'm going to actually source out the app called Unsplash, which is an app that features a whole bunch of copyright-free images or royalty-free images that you are allowed to use for reference or in your own work. And I have sourced out a glitter background from there, and that is what I'm going to be using today. So basically, we're going to go to my camera roll, we're going to grab this image that I have saved from Unsplash. If you aren't familiar with the app, here is a quick look at it. It is right there. It's full of pictures that you guys can use. You can search up anything, you can find things, you can download them at full quality. Really great if you're an artist and looking for reference photos, or you want like textures and backgrounds and things to use. It's great. I'm using this glitter one from the app, and it has now been created on its separate layer above the charcoal gray black layer that we have made. So we want to size it up to the canvas that we are using. Yes, it has covered everything we just did, but it is okay. It is still looking at a good quality. It doesn't look blurry or anything. So now that we have that, we're going to tap on its layer, and we're going to press clipping mask, and it is actually going to clip on top of the art that we did on layer 5, and it has replaced the charcoal color with the gold glitter. So now we have a golden glitter ripple, which is really kind of cool. So if you want to make any changes to this, you need to go back to layer 5 and continue doing everything the way we did before. So you can go in with your marker, not your marker, your brush, the soft medium brush, and you can doodle if you need to add anything. You can liquify on this layer and everything's going to come out in this glittery tone, which is really cool, and it is what allows you to put like this neat glitter effect into the marble, which is cool. So I'm actually going to go in and liquify this a bit more because I feel like I need to twirl it a bit because I feel like we're missing kind of some gold in the bottom corner, but this is looking a lot better now. It's looking a bit more evenly distributed. And yeah, I think I'm happy with that. I mean, we've got a lot of gold going on the side and kind of in the top. So I might go in and pinch that down a little bit because I feel like it could benefit from a bit more of a fine line. So yeah, let's go grab the pinching tool and we will do that, kind of pinch in that area. I definitely want to make sure my brush is smaller so I don't affect too much of the design, just the area I want to focus on. And yeah, that helped a lot. I definitely like this a lot more right now. So once you have gotten to that point, you are good to go. If you want, you can merge those two layers or you can leave it so you can edit it. But for now, I'm good. All you need to do now is save it however you want. You can save it as a JPEG or a PNG. Either one of those will work if you want to use it for a wallpaper on your iPad or your computer or your phone or anything like that. This should work, and then it will appear in your camera roll and you can set it as a wallpaper or desktop. So if you guys have followed this tutorial and you have created your own piece using this method, and or just had fun watching it, let me know down in the comments below. If you do create something and post it on social media, if you could tag me so I can see, I would absolutely love to. I feel like there are so many fun color combinations you can do, and I would just love to see that and then feature some in the next video. So that is officially it. Here's the final look at the piece that we just did. I hope you all enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to go ahead and also give you guys some free backgrounds using this piece that we just created here if you would like. So head over to my blog to download those. That'll be listed down in the description box below, as well as all the details of anything that I use and the color codes. So that is officially it. Again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!